Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of DudeWutPodcast. My name's Harry Dowling and it's a special episode today. I am joined by two special guests, Mr. Callum Hamby and Mr. Adam Grizzly Bear Homer. How the hell you doing, boys?
Good, yeah. I don't know who's going to go first then.
It's always like a gamble, yeah.
Yeah, whenever we're both on, I never know who's going first. But yeah, doing really good, man. Really, really good.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Hammers, how are you, bro?
I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Except for the old attack of the Rona.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fully recovered. I'm just got a little bit of a tickly throat still, but I'm fine.
How many times have you had it now? Is that number 2 or number 3?
I had it twice.
Oh, okay.
I had it twice. This time, it wasn't that bad, to be fair. I literally just had a cough for a few days. That's literally it.
Get some time off work?
No. Well, I have been working.
Okay. Working, air quotes.
No, unlike you. You're like playing like Age of Empires all day.
Hey man, work hard, play hard. I've been playing, I made a character on Sims 4 today called Dingus Malingus. Big cowboy hat wearing dude, wants to be a rock star. That was my work.
Jesus Christ.
Why did it work?
So, today we are going to be giving our thoughts on the recently released Chili Pepper album, Return of the Dream Canteen. But before we get into any of that, let's see how we've all been doing. Adam, what have you been up to the last week or so, man?
Yeah, well, obviously it's the first one I've been on for ages.
A little while, yeah.
I think it's since June, so it's been a good 4 months now.
Wow.
Been a little busy at work, and obviously our schedules haven't quite sort of linked up.
Yeah.
So really glad to be back on again. Pretty much listened to every single episode since then.
Oh, so you're the one listener we've got.
Yeah. I'm a middle-aged man in Bangladesh.
Hey man, don't diss our Bangladeshi crowd, bro.
No, we love them. Keep coming.
Of course we do.
No, but yeah, this last week been mainly working. But I met up with you guys, you and Fee.
Yes, yeah, weekend. That was cool.
That was really good. All the dogs went absolutely mental for like a good 2 hours.
Yeah.
Moose slept for like 2 days after.
How is Moose liking his little blue bandana?
Oh, really good, man. He fucking loves it.
Good.
It looks so cute with it on as well.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But we pretty much did the same thing we did with you guys this weekend with a family friend. She's just got a dog, and it's from the same shelter Moose came from as well.
Oh, okay.
But it's a rescue that's been re-rescued. So it came over as a puppy originally from Romania. I think the owner was like an old lady that broke her hip anyway.
Ooh.
And they've given the dog back, and now one of Hannah's family friends has ended up with the dog. So
I did see some pictures that Hannah put on. What sort of dog was it? It's like a jet black something.
Yeah, it's one of these. It's like Moose. It could be anything. It's like 4 or 5 dogs in one.
Yeah.
But yeah, really nice temperament, and they were just running around for hours in this field and had a great time.
Good. Oh, that's good, man. Good to hear. Yeah, it was fun when we met up. We sort of went for a big walk locally, and then brought the dogs back, and Moose had run of the living room. He got treated well. He had like a full hoof and some treats.
Oh mate, he was treated like a king.
He was, yeah. He loved it. Even my dogs were like, "What the fuck's going on?"
No, he was absolutely knackered after that weekend, which is good. Got to do it more often.
Yeah, definitely, man. You're so close to us as well, like closer than we realise sometimes.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
100%.
Definitely. Well, that's all pretty cool, man. Anything else stand out to you this week?
Not really, mate. I've literally just been working.
Standard.
Weird hours of a day, all day. So on my days off now, which I'm looking forward to.
Cool. Hammers, moving over to you, bro. What have you been up to the last week or so?
Yeah, not a great deal really. Just been like working at home really because I tested positive.
Chlamydia.
Lots of
chlamydia.
Yeah, lots of like wedding planning stuff, which is kind of taking up a fair bit of time. But yeah, no, other than that, yeah, pretty standard week actually. Yeah,
nice. I've been it's the same as you guys. Like it's always the same, working. Obviously, I mentioned on last week's pod that I've got a new dog. So we've been just sort of training her and taking her out places and things like that, and getting on really well. But I didn't really have anything to mention in this week's kind of what have I been up to segment, except for yesterday I booted up the Xbox because I've been playing an absolute boatload of Red Dead 2. Still loving that game. Which reminds me, Adam, I tried to go on the store to have a look at GTA 4 because you were like, it's $2.99. It's fucking $17.99, bro.
No, they had a deal on, and it was like 80% off for like however long.
Yeah,
like Xbox Gold members. So I literally got it for like £3.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, all right, I love that game, but I'm not going to spend £18 on it.
No, that's way too much.
Probably get it on disc cheaper than that. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It's a great game, though. Still playing it now.
It is, yeah. But no, so I've been playing a lot of Red Dead 2, and I've been sort of aware that there's a few games coming out that I really have been looking forward to playing. So Scorn has just come out on Game Pass. It's supposed to be sort of like a puzzle, a gruesome horror puzzle game. I'm pretty sure Plague Tale 2 comes out tomorrow. For anyone who didn't play Plague Tale Part 1, that's a phenomenal game. Really good stealth game. And I was like, what's this? And there's a game on there called Chivalry 2. Now, it's a game I've had my eye on for a little while because it just looks like fun, But it's on Game Pass, so I downloaded it, played it for about 5 minutes, and was like, yeah, it's pretty fun. I then texted our pal Tomo, and I was like, bro, this game's on Game Pass, let's have a game. And me and him were playing it till late last night. It is so fun. Really recommend both you guys download it and just play a bit on it. It's basically Shipment on Call of Duty, but you've got swords and arrows. It's an absolute shitfest. And everyone, you can push buttons to like war cry, and everyone's like, you're running in with people are like, ah, and getting speared and just fucked up. It's so fun. And I sent to Hamby just because me and Hamby just played a couple games on Modern Warfare before this. And I was saying it's probably not that great a game, but it's one of the funnest gaming experiences I've had in a little while, actually. So I'm actually going to go back online at about 10 o'clock tonight to play a few more games with Tomo. And you guys, of course, you're welcome to join if you're about.
Well, it's not long until the new COD comes out, is it, though?
It's like 10 days or something?
No, not long at all.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. I think Hamby, you were saying you're going to pre-order it, and I might do the same.
Well, I mean, I'll get it the day it comes out, but yeah.
Well, I might pre-order it just so I can play, because I think the day it comes out, I'll want to play some multiplayer, but I never play multiplayer without beating the campaign first. So I might pre-order it so that I can play it a week early. So,
like, not to burst your bubble or anything, but like I realise it's only the Vault edition that you're able to do that for.
Oh, really?
And that's £100.
Oh, fuck that then.
Yeah,
I'll just get it the day it comes out.
That's why I'm not doing it. I was like, I'll just wait like a week.
That's crap.
£70.
Yeah.
Yeah, £70 for the normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get that the day. Well, I mean, I get it for my birthday, but I'll get it the day it comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. All right. Well, if we've got nothing else to speak about our weeks, how's about we move on to everyone's favourite segment? It's What Are We Drinking?
What are we drinking?
All right. I'm super thirsty. I've got a real sore throat today, so I'm looking forward to this. I think I'll mix it up. Usually I'm like, yeah, guests go first. I'm going to go first this time. So I, as I do pretty much every week, I went to the B&M over the road, and I was scanning, because I've pretty much had everything they sell now, and I've had it on the pod. This is episode like 67 of the podcast now. And we've been doing the What Are We Drinking since like episode 4 or something, so we've had a lot of drinks, and I try not to do too many repeats. But I can't remember if I've had this on the pod. It's a beer I quite like. It is FS Pilsner, Mediterranean Slow Brew, it says at the top. This is a beer that I first tried on holiday in Turkey. I think it may be like Turkey's #1 beer or something. I can't remember if that's FS or a different one. But it's ice cold. It's been in the. I bought it like early this morning, so it's been in the fridge at work all day. Then it's been in my fridge for a bit since we got home. So I'm ready to crack it. It's a 5%. It's a 500ml bottle, and it looks super refreshing. Let me get my. Smells good. Yeah, it tastes good. You can't really go wrong with the Mediterranean beers, I find. It reminds me of Mythos, which is one of my. It's up there. It's like one of my favorite lagers. This is a Pilsner. Now, this is something me and Hamby spoke about a few episodes ago as to what a Pilsner is. But it's delicious. It says, we take our time to brew FS with our unique Mediterranean slow brewing technique by adding one more resting moment in our brewing process, creating a smoother beer with refreshing taste and our signature crisp finish. It's definitely crisp. It's really nice.
Yeah, I've had that before years ago when I used to work at a pub, and I always thought it was a really weird or odd choice to stock in in a Wetherspoons.
yeah.
So nobody would ever buy it, and
nobody asks for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought nobody ever buys it. It must taste like shit. Tried it, and I was like, oh, no, it's good.
It's all right. Yeah, it's a million times better than any American lager, and even the sort of. Is it Dutch lagers, like Heineken's and all that stuff? I always would go for a Mediterranean lager. I think they're just nicer. Amstel's good, but this is better. All right, what have you guys got? Hammers, do you want to go next?
Hammers got a jar of cough syrup or something.
Oh, I'll tell you before we move on. Actually, everyone has been, including you, Grizzo, our friend Steve, has been recommending I try the Captain Morgan's Tiki for a long time.
Yeah. Tell me more.
I've got a bottle in my fridge, and I've been having it with some lemonade. Very tasty.
It's good. It's good, isn't it?
It's good. It is good.
It is quite
cheeky tiki.
It is a cheeky tiki. It's quite sneaky though, because you can't taste it. You can taste the flavour.
I know what you mean.
You can't taste
it's not
the
as strong. Yeah.
It creeps up on you very quickly.
Definitely. Sorry, Hammers. Carry on, mate.
So I've got a corner shop special.
Okay,
Obscure Polish lager.
Go on.
I've got Zubra.
Okay.
Have you seen it before?
I have, actually. What is that on the front? Is that like a...
It's like a
bison.
Bison.
Yeah. Buffalo bison, yeah. I've had this beer a few times. It's actually quite nice. It's one of those obscure ones. My corner shop, he seems to change it every few weeks, the guy. But he'll get loads of random Polish lagers and stuff in, I guess, because there's a lot of Poles shop there, I guess.
Yeah.
Crack it open. It's a very refreshing lager. It's ice cold, been in my fridge all day. It's quite, I think it's reasonably strong. It's 4.5%.
Well, I was just about to say that the sort of the foreignness of it kind of reminds me of the Carpacci's that we had.
Oh, delicious.
Weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's in that kind of shop.
Yeah.
Where it's just they have a fridge full of random beers, and it's
and you can buy them as single cans.
Yeah, you can buy them as single cans. I bought this as a single can. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice, really refreshing, really, really crisp. It's not really got too much about it, really, but honestly, it's a refreshing drink.
What is it? Is it a lager? Is it?
Yeah, it's like a lager. Yeah.
It's an interesting can. Yeah,
Yeah, Zub. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Those shops are playing Russian roulette with beers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Thing is, I've normally I just grab them. So I've had a few weird ones before. I've had honey beer before.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was a Polish thing. Yeah, he does all sorts of weird ones. Oh. I think he's probably had Carpacci as well.
Oh, yeah.
Our favourite.
Delicious.
God, I still see haunting images of that can, a jet black can with the little red thing on it or whatever.
Makes me salivate thinking about it. Delicious.
No,
bloody awful. That was.
It was the woman who was in the. Wasn't she in the aisle with us? And she was if you want to get proper smash, get this one. It's And it was like Super
She
Brew or
wasn't wrong.
something.
Yeah.
It was like,
Oh,
it
God.
was like-
God.
Yeah,
Oh.
all right.
I'll have to try that. To be fair, I have seen that a load of times, and I've always kind of steered clear because I can't pronounce it, so it's like back away. But like, no, like, you know, you're a lot more adventurous with those Polish lagers. I should give them a shot.
Just give them a go. They're just lagers.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing too complex.
Yeah, I'm just scared that I'll take a sip and it'll taste like a Carpaccio.
Nectar of the gods.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Jesus.
Drinking diesel.
Licorice flavoured diesel, yeah. Grizzo, what are you drinking tonight, mate?
So I've got 2 drinks. One's a soft drink. I'm just
Okay.
chugging
Oh, wow.
along as I go along. Nothing special. It's just a nice glass of Ribena.
Okay,
nothing
yeah.
special. Just keeping my mouth
Is that
moist.
is that the Ribena squash, or is that
That's Ribena squash.
like, okay,
Yeah. So it's a mix at home Ribena squash. Nothing fancy.
yeah. And if I remember right, you're a strong mix man, or are you a
yes.
weak mix man?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Very strong.
Not quite a Tomo half and half
No,
double
not
strength.
quite neat.
Yeah. it's a Tiv neat.
Oh yeah.
It's a Tomo half and
neat.
half.
But my drink for today, technically, it's a soft drink as well.
Okay.
It's been in my fridge for actually quite a while, but it's a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's left over from a family sort of gathering where I was driving, but I wanted a drink.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
bought myself a 0 alcohol-free Birra Moretti.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So
Yeah.
I wanted a beer, but I wanted
Yeah.
to drive as well. But this has been sat in the fridge for about 3 weeks at least now.
That's fair enough. I find myself more and more buying alcohol-free beer because, like, I want the beer taste. I just don't want the, you know, or I can't have any of the alcohol, you know.
Yeah, it's a weird one to be honest because I've never really been bothered about wanting a beer but
Yeah.
not having like an alcohol-free beer. But I thought I'd give it a try, and from what I remember, I mean, it smells good now. See it does give you that feeling of drinking a beer,
Yeah.
even though you fully well know it's not a real beer.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless I'm
People
just
sort of-
really sensitive to the 0.05% alcohol.
yeah. Yeah. Whoa.
Ooh, maybe.
It's like Fee's parents' house. Like, they have always got at least 2 4-packs of Beck's Blue. They never have actual alcohol beer, but they always have alcohol free in there. Because if you're out at like a picnic or something, yeah, you know, you can have that beer taste, but without, you know. Yeah.
It's decent, to be fair. It's decent. I wouldn't say it tastes like shit. So it's
I'd like to, I'd like to try that one because the problem with some of them is that they do taste worse than the sort of alcohol version. But like, for example, Beck's Blue, which I think is probably, in my opinion, the best alcohol-free lager, because it tastes you can't, in my opinion, I can't distinguish it between, you know, full alcohol and not.
I'd say that tastes pretty much bang on the same, except it has like a little bit different aftertaste, Birra Moretti.
Yeah.
Apart
Okay.
from that, gives you the impression. That's all you want, isn't it?
Nice. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I only have this FS and I'm super thirsty, so I'm going to be like sort of slowly sipping this throughout the pod. But let's leave that segment there, guys.
What are we drinking?
All right, so before we started this, I said to Hamby, "Have you got a bone to pick, bro?" And Hamby said, "No, not this time. Let's throw it over to Adam." And Adam said, "I'm all about peace and love." And I said, "Okay." And I was like, "Right, well, I'll try and think of something." And I was actually sat here in silence, like trying to think of something, and I couldn't think of anything. And at the beginning of this pod, a few minutes ago, I suddenly thought of something. So I'm going to do a little impromptu bone to pick. I'm not going to play the theme song or anything because it's not Hamby's ham bone to pick. It's just something that annoys me that we've mentioned earlier, and that is, you mentioned it, Adam, when you said that the new Call of Duty was going to be £70. Video games
Insane.
costing so much money now. You know, and that's not even considering the special editions that are like £100 or something. You know, most of the time they're released in a bad state these days, unfortunately. And you know, it's like PlayStation recently announced that they're going to be like £70 is going to be the standard price for all of their games. They also announced that the PlayStation 5 was going to be more expensive now, even though it's now being made with cheaper parts.
Really?
So it's sort of they found a new way to make them using cheaper parts, and they're charging more for it. And everyone is upping their prices, with the exception of Microsoft, who are like, nah, it's staying where it is.
It's because Microsoft like essentially can afford to make a loss on Xbox.
Yeah.
A loss or not make a lot of money. So they don't like companies like Microsoft don't make that much money selling you a console.
Yeah.
Like where they make the money is like things on like Game Pass.
Well, did you see the figures that came
stuff,
out
like,
recently for Game Pass?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like everyone has Game Pass.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Billions.
Why wouldn't you have
Billions.
that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's hands down the best deal in gaming at the minute.
Yeah, but with what's happening at the moment as well, with like, you know, most economies are kind of slowing down a little bit and that kind of thing. So like Sony just can't afford not to increase their prices.
Yeah.
While Microsoft, because their business is so huge, they make money on computers, consumer electronics. Like they can basically afford to make a loss. Like they're fine.
But do you remember when, you know, back when we were in high school? This is, well, I can't even think of the year. It was so long ago. But do you remember when it was like a brand new game, £40?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. You know,
and you'd have your 2 crisp £20 notes, and that would buy you a brand new game day release. You know.
Yeah, I remember when like games went up to 50. I think I remember.
Yeah.
I remember like, and I think it might have been like a FIFA or something, and it was like £10 more than it used to be, and I was like, ooh.
Well, here's something I recently remembered.
It's probably
Here's something I recently remembered the other day. Do you remember when Game and Game Station were both a thing?
Yeah.
Well, I know Game's still
Yeah.
but Game Station was a thing. And you could do that thing where you could buy a game, and then you'd have like 2 weeks to return the game for full price. So you could buy a game, blast it, return it for full price, get another game, blast it, return it for full price, and you could do it. They let you do it 3 times.
Yeah.
No wonder Game Station went under, man, doing that. Like,
well, I remember like everybody knows we live in Worcestershire, I guess.
Yeah.
But like in Worcester, there was like 2 games like literally round the corner from each other.
Well, the one used to be a game station originally.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but it was like 2 shops, and they're literally like a 30-second walk from each other.
Yeah, like really close.
Like,
yeah,
I remember.
So pointless.
But yeah, that's my little bone to pick on just the price of. I guess it's the price of everything going up, but I don't know. £70 just feels like a lot of money.
I always sort of measure the price of things in Freddos in games.
Freddos.
Yeah, I think 70 quid even for Xbox is probably like standard. The thing that I don't get, so I know like I'm just gonna carry on the rant, is that they'll sell. You have the option now of buying like the last gen for like £60, and then the new gen, even though it's like the current gen, for like 70, and it's like why does it cost £10 more? Like it's like what?
Stupid.
It's because they label it as like a cross-gen like thing, but it's like, well, if I want to have the game, I want to play it on just my one console. That's the new console.
Yeah.
Everyone like,
do one mission on that one and one mission on the old console. Like, nah, stupid.
Yeah,
stupid. All right. Okay, let's move on to a bit of entertainment news. I got a few stories to get through before we get to our album reviews. First bit of news. Now, this is something that I was quite hyped about. Not like super hyped, but quite hyped about. And that's that Tom DeLonge has rejoined Blink-182, and they've released a new song. So this information comes from Kerrang, and it says that Blink-182 have returned with their first song to feature Tom DeLonge just months shy of a decade. Damn. It's a belting pop-punk anthem titled Edging. It says, after a few months of teasing, Blink-182 confirmed the return of DeLonge, who formed the band with Mark Hoppus in 92 but left in 2015. Back in July, Alkaline Trio frontman Matt Skiba, who joined 182 in 2015 as a replacement, claimed that he didn't know if he was still a part of the band. DeLonge then hinted that if he'd return the group, that he'd rejoin the group before Hoppus said the original trio. Sorry, I fucked up reading that. But yeah, basically, Tom DeLonge's back. They've released this new song, and and they've announced like a massive world tour, 2023 world tour. And I just sort of was like, I'll see how much the tickets are. Sold out, completely sold out. Even the pre-sale sold out. I'm not sure when it goes on full sale, but that'll probably be sold out as well. But so Hamby, I know you've heard it. We'll get to that in a sec. Grizzo, have you heard this new Blink-182 song?
I've listened to it twice, I think.
Okay.
I mean, it's decent. It's decent. It's what you would expect from Blink, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not great. It's not crap. It's Blink. It's like it's a bit of fun.
It is.
It's a bit of fun.
It is. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we do though.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not going to blow the water out, but it's going to be. Blink.
It's Blink-182. So I messaged Hamby, and rather than do his typical response, which is just a thumbs up, he was like, I said, have you heard the new Blink-182 song? And he literally was like, yes, it's garbage. And I was like, wow, that's strong. Like, why? What's making him feel that way?
I've come back from that now.
Okay.
I don't think it's garbage. I don't like it, but I don't think it's garbage.
Okay.
Like I don't really like it, but like you say, like I think I spoke to you the other night about it. I was like thinking about it now, like yeah, exactly. It's Blink, and it's probably not that. I think one thing that I don't really know what I expected, really.
Yeah. Well, you had a really good point. Which was that like when we were listening to this Blink-182, we were kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we are a lot older now. And it's just sort of like, I don't feel that I'm not in the headspace I was when I was listening to that kind of stuff. So it's sort of, you know, I don't want to say I'm too old for Blink, because look at those guys. Like Mark Hoppus looks creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, it's kind of weird. Like, I mean, fair enough. Like, you know, they've got a brand and they stick to it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just weird. Like they're I know all the bands that we liked when we were younger and all now old, but like just Blink, because I guess like the style was kind of like, you know.
Yeah, it is weird. You know, seeing dudes
like they're like 50s.
Dudes that have got to be in their late 40s, you know, jumping around as if they're like 19, 20, you know.
Yeah.
No, at least
I mean, like
they sound like Blink still.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When you see it in person,
and you know,
playing, you're like, ooh, you know, it looks a bit weird.
I've always been a fan of Tom DeLonge's overly American singing voice, and he doesn't disappoint in this new track, you know. So I've listened to it 6 or 7 times. I think it's a good song. It's not fantastic, but it's not crap. It's just sort of, it's Blink-182. It's a bit of fun. The music video is quite fun as well. It's just them just
good.
stabbing a load of people dressed as bunnies. So yeah. Next bit of news, and there's a lot of music news in this sort of music heavy episode. But the next bit of news is that the new Alter Bridge album has been released. The album is called Pawns and Kings, and I don't have much information other than what I thought of it, because I listened to it the day it came out. I'm not the world's biggest Alter Bridge fan. I'm way more of a Creed fan. I don't know if anyone knows. Well, sorry, everyone knows, but Alter Bridge and Creed are the exact same band with just a different lead singer. It's pretty good. There's 2 tracks on there that I would say are real standout. One of them is the title track, Pawns and Kings. It's got a really cool kind of message to it. But I was talking to Hamby about this the other day. I personally think Alter Bridge are at their best when they're not very heavy, when it's more kind of melodic. My problem with Alter Bridge is it's aggressively heavy all the time, and it's just sort of a bit like, you know, as someone who loves heavy metal, it's very samey a lot of the time. But it's an alright album. It's pretty good. A couple of tracks on there are real good. But it got me thinking, right? why hasn't Alter Creed ever been a thing? Like, why not get Scott Stapp and Miles Kennedy both on the stage together, Alter Creed? Do songs from both bands. They both have got powerhouse vocals. They could easily, work with each other. Why has that not been a thing?
There's got to be some bad blood there, hasn't there?
Yeah, well, I've been looking into it, and as to why Creed ended, because there's rumours that Creed are coming back in the next few years, which would be cool. But it was all because Scott Stapp got really heavily into drugs and alcohol and gambling, and they were just like, enough's enough.
It sounds a bit like Hamby, that does.
It does. Hamby's has demons. But this leads me on to something else, which is that Scott Stapp is playing a really small gig in Birmingham, and the tickets are like 24 quid a ticket or something. And I messaged Hamby, and I was like, I'm kind of tempted to go to this. And Hamby was like, I'm down. I messaged Adam, and Adam was like, hell yeah. So I think the three of us are going to go see Scott Stapp do some Creed karaoke next February.
Speaking of karaoke, when are we getting the money back from that gig?
I don't know, man. I literally called the place the other day because I thought about it.
That's reminded me. I was like...
I called the place and I said, what's going on with this? And they literally just said, when you'll see us when we advertise it on our page, you'll see it. And I was like, okay, well, is it ever going to happen? What's going on?
We'll never see that money again.
Yeah, probably not, bro.
I paid good money to see that guy. And I enjoyed it.
That one guy do karaoke. To be fair, we paid the money to see that kid butcher Comfortably Numb.
It was probably worth it for that, to be fair.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I've been meaning to say, and I thought I'd just say it on the podcast because it's easier because you guys are both there. But after this show, or maybe tomorrow or something, we'll organise it. Send me the dough and I'll book tickets for that Scott Stapp
Sounds
gig.
good to me.
Because his own stuff, he's done about 3 albums on his own. It's all right, but I was like, I'm only really interested in the Creed songs because I've loved Creed since I was a kid. Anthems. But I watched a couple of his live shows, kind of skip through, and it looks like he kind of plays one of his, one Creed, and he plays like the bangers, the Creed songs. So it looks like he's going to be playing a few. I've seen Adam's been listening to Creed all day on Spotify. So yeah, Scott Stapp of Creed, we're going to see him next year. Next little bit of news. Now this is something that actually was on like the actual news, as well as on obviously all the sort of news outlets and things, music news outlets, and that's that a long lost Queen song has been released. This information comes from The Telegraph, and it says that a Queen song featuring Freddie Mercury has been released after being lost for 34 years. A new Queen song featuring Freddie Mercury's vocals has been released. Face It Alone was recorded during the sessions for the Miracle album in 1988, but was left unfinished. It was rediscovered in the Queen archive and will now be released as a single. Queen's Roger Taylor said, "We did find a little gem from Freddie that we'd kind of forgotten about, and it's wonderful." And I don't know if either of you guys have heard it, but it's it's a nice track.
No,
I've not
heard
it.
I've seen about it, but I haven't actually heard it.
What did you say then, Hamby? You say you've heard it?
No, I've not heard it.
Okay, like it's good. It's just, it sounds like Queen. I'm not. I love Queen as a band. I've never been a big enough fan to like really research the shit out of them. But it sounds good. It sounds like Queen. It's a nice song. And Freddie Mercury, obviously one of the greatest frontmen vocalists of all time. Nice to hear something that you haven't heard before from him, basically. Right, next bit of news. Now, this is movie news. And that is that Harrison Ford has reportedly been cast in the MCU.
Okay.
Harrison Ford is joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe and might be one of the biggest casting coups of the franchise so far. The Hot Mic and Film is reporting that the iconic star of Indiana Jones and Star Wars has been tapped by Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige to take over the role of Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, which was previously played by William Hurt before he died earlier this year, apparently. It said Ford will be cast as Ross for multiple films, with his debut reportedly to come in the upcoming Captain America New World Order, before he then will join the Thunderbolts film. Now, I don't know what you guys think of this. Like, I love Harrison Ford as an actor, but Harrison Ford is like 80 years old. I don't know.
But the character he's going to be playing is a bit younger, but I can sort of see why they go after him for it.
Oh yeah, like he's phenomenal. But I mean, what I'm thinking is, why lock down why lock down an old man to be in future MCU productions, kind of thing. Like, it's a risky play.
Yeah, it is risky, but at the same time, he's Indiana Jones. He's doing his own stunts. He's unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, he's breaking bones on every set, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I thought Harrison Ford was like, I thought he like said he was done.
I think Harrison Ford is one of those actors where if you wave a wad of cash in front of his nose, he will do anything you ask.
Fair enough.
But what's funny is that Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross actually becomes a character called the Red Hulk. So people are like, are we going to see Harrison Ford Hulk out? Like, is it, I've heard one theory that apparently, because he's obviously done a lot of stuff with Disney, Lucasfilm, he's been scanned a shit ton of times. So what they might be thinking of doing is having him a couple of films as a man, actually acting, then have him become the Red Hulk, and then they don't need him again, basically. Like, he could actually die in real life and they could keep the Red Hulk character going, They've got enough scans and things of him.
Pretty
but
crazy.
Sort of bizarre, isn't it? Yeah, bizarre.
That's weird.
You've got like almost like a disgusted look on your face, bro.
I don't know. I don't know how he's still going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he is a great actor and he's been in so many good films over the years. But
yeah.
It just reminds me of the whole thing with De Niro in The Irishman.
Yeah.
It's you got to call it a day, man.
Yeah. I mean, you might be de-aged to look like a young man, but you're moving like an old ass man.
You're moving like a dinosaur.
That was the thing in The Irishman that really pulled me out.
Oh,
of it.
yeah.
It was like
It was
young face, old movements.
He's like shooing that guy on the floor, and it's like granddad's kicking the shit out of some kid.
Yeah, it's funny.
But yeah, risky play by Marvel. But yeah, fair enough. Love Harrison Ford. Next bit of news. Now, this is that, unfortunately, Robbie Coltrane, the star of Cracker and Harry Potter, has died, aged 72. Robbie Coltrane, whose acting career spanned everything from Bond films to Cracker to Harry Potter, died 72. The news was confirmed by his agent on Friday. By all accounts, a lovely guy. I think there's a lot of people that are really sad about this. Especially like potheads, which is what we call the Harry Potter fan base. He was Hagrid. He was sort of like one of the big players and one of the most likable characters. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if either of you guys saw that kind of Harry Potter, when they all came back, it was like a Sky special or something. They all came back and the reunion. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And everyone was just saying about how lovely he was to them all, because obviously they were all kids when they started, and he's just a nice guy,
I didn't actually watch that,
Are you into Harry Potter at all?
I mean, I've watched all the films. I do like it. I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan ever, but
it's probably worth watching then. If you've watched all the films and you enjoy it, I'd say it's worth watching. It's just sort of like, just quite cool to see them all today, like Rupert Grint is like someone's dad,
Weasley.
But also to tag on to this, I'm pretty sure Angela Lansbury died as well the other day. Most well known for being in a lot of the Agatha Christie things. She was in Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which is like one of my favourite old Disney films. When all the suits of armour come to life to fight the Nazis at the end, so cool. But yeah, a couple of big deaths there, unfortunate. Last bit of news now. Now, this is something that I don't know what to think about. I kind of think it's great and also crap at the same time. But that is that apparently Liam Neeson is set to star in a Naked Gun reboot / sequel.
I saw this.
The Naked Gun trilogy is hands down some of my favourite comedy films of all time. Absolute timeless slapstick classics. Leslie Nielsen, one of a kind, probably the king of being the bumbling like straight man while the world is on fire around him kind of guy. The music just plays in my head like all the time. You know,
oh, it's great.
It's so cool. It's a series of films that I could just watch the rest of my life. They're great films. But so this comes from, I think it's from Deadline, I got this information. They said that one of Hollywood's classic slapstick comedy franchises is looking to make its way back to the big screen. Sources tell Deadline that Paramount Pictures is moving forward with a new Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson in negotiations to star and Avica Schaefer set to direct. And he's one of the Lonely Island guys who probably did Hot Rod, did that new Chip and Dale movie on Disney Plus, and a couple other things. It says, while no green light has been given, sources say that it's headed in the direction once a deal closes for Neeson. Plot details are being kept under wraps, except that Neeson might be playing the son of Detective Frank Drebin, rather than stepping into that role.
Oh, man.
I think Neeson could do it,
I think he does, he just fit it perfectly, to be honest.
I think he really could do it, you know, the sort of the gruff, you know, tell me what's going on while his car's driving down the street or something. I think I've got to watch those films again.
Oh,
I
absolute classics.
So I can remember every single scene of the first one, but I still love it. I still want to watch it again.
I always just remember the bit where he gets chased by the train.
No, that's not the Naked Gun, bro. That's another film. It's basically the same thing.
Oh,
That's a film called I can't remember, but yeah, he's like a convict and he breaks out of the prison bus and then he's running, and the train is chasing him, and then he goes off. He goes through the woods and the train is like going over the woods and stuff.
It's a Naked Gun movie in all but name, then.
Yeah, basically, it's Leslie Nielsen slapstick. That's all you need, you know.
Yeah.
I just love the little bits that you wouldn't think anything of, where he's just, you know, there's one bit where he's like monologuing as he's walking like the streets of LA, and he's sort of like, I needed to know this and I need to know that, and one other thing, where the hell was I? And then he's like in a jungle or something, and he's like looking around. So good. But I think I'm down for that casting, you know.
Yeah, that sounds spot on to me, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay, right. That's the end of the entertainment news. So, let's move on to why we're all here today.
As
I said,
alcohol and drug problem.
Yes, Hamby, we're here to help you, man. It's because the Red Hot Chili Peppers went ahead and released another album, probably about 6 months or so after the last album. Red Hot Chili Peppers, it's safe to say, is one of our favourite bands. We devoted a whole episode to reviewing the Unlimited Love album when it came out. It went down really well with all you listeners, so we were like, we've got to do the same thing for this album. I've listened through it a few times. I've got lots of thoughts. Adam, I know you've probably done the same. Hamby, I know you've listened through it once and then you've sort of highlighted the tracks that you liked and re-listened to those. So what we did was we basically followed the exact same formula criteria as we did with Unlimited Love. We've got some categories and we're just going to go through these categories and sort of take turns sharing what we think. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. Could be a while, could be 10 minutes. Who knows? But I think we're going to give our individual opinions and review on the album, and, you know, we're probably going to be, unless one of us thinks it's shockingly shit, we'll probably be fairly close together, and we'll give like an official Dude What kind of, you know, review. So, as we did with Unlimited Love, Well, first, this album is called Return of the Dream Canteen, a name which, to be honest, I'm not that much of a fan of. I don't know what the hell it's about. Do you have any idea about what the Dream Canteen is?
No idea, because usually, I mean, if the album name isn't one of the songs, it's like one of the lyrics, and it's not mentioned at all. So I've got no idea.
It's so strange. Yeah, it's canteen as in a water canteen, or like a canteen where you go, like a school canteen. Like, I don't know. It's got some funky psychedelic artwork. Okay, well, let's go. The first category then is pros/standout moments. So what I did was I basically listened through the whole album while I was writing this, and I've almost got a comment on most of the songs, to be fair. But I will start. We can have a little bit of a chat, and we'll just rattle through our points, and have a discussion. So, I realised that I didn't have any notes on the first single, which was Tip of My Tongue, because I kind of started writing this after the first track. So my first note is on Peace and Love. But a standout moment for me is the chorus on Peace and Love with John's backing vocals, especially on that. I just love that.
No, I do agree with that. I think it's one of the better choruses on the whole album.
Yeah.
And it each sort of chorus, it builds more and more with more sort of instrumentation, more vocals, to the point where like at the end it sounds really full, but at the beginning it sounds quite empty almost.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And it's really catchy chorus as well.
It's such a chilled vibe, and the harmonies, John's layering those vocals, and it's a nice song. It's a really nice song.
It's just a pretty song, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Very pretty. The verses.
Yeah. So I don't know if we want to go. I've started the rotation. Who wants to go next, and then we'll kind of keep doing that.
I'll go for one of my favourite standout moments.
Go on.
So, I listened to the whole album. Listened to it twice. Sorry, not once.
Okay, sorry.
I think I just like how different like a lot of the songs are, and it's like it makes an interesting listen. I think one of the cons that I don't necessarily think myself.
Hang on. Save your cons, because we'll do that in the next section where we're all is all the cons.
So
this is just pros and standout moments.
So yeah, one of the standout songs I think was La 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 La. Is that the
yeah,
is that the right
la,
number?
la 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 la.
Yeah, I really like that song. It's really atmospheric, really kind of a bit slower paced compared to the songs around it on the album. But I think it's definitely kind of one of the songs that kind of I remember from the few listens through.
Going off that point, I do have a standout moment also from La 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 La, and that is that I love the sort of 80s kind of synth feel of that track. It reminds me of something that the Cars would do.
Yeah.
Grizz, got any thoughts on that one?
On my standout or for that particular song?
Well, no, just anything to sort of piggyback on Hamby's point.
I'd say one of my standouts was from Eddie.
Oh, okay,
and I think for me it's a weird song, because the first time I heard it, I really liked the guitar at the start of the song.
Yeah,
really, really good, like really nice, clean, like sort of really pretty guitar. And then it went into the chorus, and it's sort of with the vocals, it didn't sound right to me. Like Kiedis's like melody in the chorus sounded sort of out of time almost. And then now it's like one of my favourite things of the whole album, which is really weird. I think that song as a whole was great. Obviously the solo is insane, but just that guitar in the verse and in the chorus, it's just really pretty, really simple. But it's just classic.
I have that written down. Yeah, I have that written down as one of my notes. Is the riff on Eddie? I think it's possibly one of the best riffs on the album as like a verse riff.
I think it's one of the best riffs he's done. Well, ever in the Chili Peppers, to be honest. I think it's classic what he does. Is doing something simple but making it sound so effortless and really, really good at the same time.
I found that last night I was like, that riff was just in my head all night, and I was just whistling it constantly, which obviously is a sign of, if it gets stuck in your head, it's a sign of sort of greatness kind of thing.
It is great. It is really
great. So as we go through these, I imagine we'll kind of we'll cover points that we were going to mention. So we've covered about 3 there that I was going to mention also. But my next one that we haven't mentioned was I love that guitar tone on Reach Out. The chorus on Reach Out, it's got such a chunky riff. And it just sounds great. It reminds me of on Unlimited Love, there was only really one song with like what I would call a chunky riff, and that was is it Here Ever After? No, These Are the Ways. Hamby's favourite song off that album. These Are the Ways. Where it's sort of that's a heavy riff or a chunky riff. The Reach Out has got a hell of a riff on it. I love that.
Yeah, I really like the chorus on that song. The vocals, the chunkiness of it as well. It sounds like some of like the B-sides off like By the Way, where they're like a bit more heavier.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, 100%. It's just a great tone. And this album, we'll get to it, but this album for me is just full of fantastic guitar tones from John Frusciante.
All throughout.
Hammers, have you got a standout moment?
I think the other one probably is Bag of Grins, similar to what you just said.
Oh yeah.
I really really like the riff in that song. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great track.
Definitely, it's really good. It's like well, I mean, we'll get to it. I don't want to sort of jump ahead too much, but yeah, fantastic riffs, fantastic guitar tones. Grizzo, standout moment.
For me, say my next one, maybe, yeah, it's definitely one of my standouts. Is the whole of Bella as a whole. It is just classic Chili Peppers. The whole song, the verse, the chorus, the guitar solo. It's so catchy, melodic, really laid back, and it sounds like it could have been straight off By the Way.
It does. So I have the chorus on Bella. I think is fantastic. Is he singing about a dog?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to work out. Yeah, if he's singing about a dog, because it kind of reminds me of My New Puppy. It's weird. Like I've got this kind of, I've instantly associated it to my dog, my new puppy. Like, but yeah, like I think weirdly. So I'll just say this now. Weirdly, I mean later I'm going to come back to sort of how well the album's doing and stuff like that. But I've watched quite a few reviews today to sort of get the general feel of what other people are thinking. And Bella is one of the least favourite songs on the album, according to a lot of people. I don't get that.
No.
I think it's a fantastic song. It's just like you're saying, it's like a really lovely song. You know, it's got a real sort of bouncy groove to it. It's got those verses that are just like funky. Great bass lines on this album, like all throughout.
Yeah, to me, it feels like this album's version of She's a Lover.
Yeah,
Love,
definitely.
just really easy going,
I thought that.
Nice and clean, really bouncy, really groovy, and like every single part of the song goes so well together. It's just almost like a perfect song in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's definitely a highlight of the album. Hamby, you got any thoughts on Bella?
I don't want to spoil one of my later points. So.
Okay, well we'll leave it there if you like. Move on.
It is one of my later points. Yeah. Worst song.
Weakest song.
I would say so. My next one of my next standout moments is the 80s hip hop style beat and feel of the whole song on My Cigarette, including the saxophone that comes up later in that song. Now, My Cigarette is definitely one of the different tracks on the album, but it's got this, we'll come to it, but there's a couple of tracks that have got this feel, and this song has got this like 80s, like I say, an almost like hip hop kind of style drum sound, and I'm here for it. I really, really dig in that sound,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's one of those where if you're a casual fan of a band is quite a divisive song. You either really enjoy it or hate it. And first time I heard it, I was like, it piques your interest straight away. Hearing that drum machine kick in, and then the vocal melody from Kiedis, like it just reminded me of Poker Face by Lady Gaga.
So I am going to come back to that later.
I could hear that, and I was like focusing on that, and then the music kicked in, and like it just sounded so good. Like
it's that kind of that like muffled kind of like muted guitar tone that Frusciante's got in that song. Again, like the tones Frusciante has in this album.
Yeah, it reminded me of a lot of his like later solo albums, like PBX definitely. And stuff like that.
Yeah,
where it was like guitar with like electronic music, and like you could just tell it had all of its influence on the song.
It sounds like he was playing that Yamaha guitar that he played on those later albums.
Like more like
that's
a thicker,
what I thought initially.
Tone.
Yeah, definitely. I thought to myself, I wonder if he is playing that Yamaha on those.
It's almost like Wayne, the song Wayne.
Yeah. Man, I haven't heard that in so long. Is that on Spotify?
I don't think it is. It's on YouTube.
Oh, dude.
It's on
what
YouTube,
a song.
It's
been years since I've heard that.
What a treat, what a pull. Damn.
Man, I'm going to listen to that as soon as we finish this pod.
It's basically the tone on my cigarette.
Yeah. Yes, what a song. Hamby, standout moments.
I think I've probably done mine for now. I think I've got my few standout moments. I think I'm probably done. I don't want to sort of say much more because they're kind of things that I want to.
Yeah, no worries. Well, we'll keep going, and I've got a fair few more points. I imagine Grizz has probably got a couple more.
Yeah.
But Grizz, go on then. Give us a standout moment.
Let's have a look. I've definitely got some. I didn't make a lot of notes, to be honest.
I've got a couple of pages.
I think one moment that stood out to me the first time I heard the album. The first half of the album is very much Chili Peppers, what you expect from them. Second half, after about track 10, or after My Cigarette, it starts getting a bit more colourful, doesn't it? And it was tracks, I think it's track 16, Carry Me Home, when it starts. The guitar, it's that Hendrix, sort of almost John Mayer type guitar, comes swinging in, hits you in the face. And I was listening to this at like 1 o'clock in the morning for the first time, headphones on, sort of almost drifting to sleep. Yeah. Really loud, and this bam punched me in the face almost and woke me up. I was like, Jesus, I did not expect this whatsoever. Real bluesy guitar. It's crazy.
One of my points, Carry Me Home, very John Mayer bluesy. Big guitar tone. I love how it sounds so Carry Me Home sounds so kind of less produced than the rest of the tracks. It almost sounds live. It almost sounds like you just put a microphone in the room with them.
Literally does.
Phenomenal song. I've got a point, which is the whole feel of the song In the Snow. It's another 80s hip hop, sounding sort of thing. The chorus I think is amazing. I love these sort of spoken parts towards the end of the song, and the chorus effect on that sort of simple bass line. And I did kind of get very kind of Pixies Where Is My Mind vibes from the guitar.
Yeah, the guitar.
You know, the doo 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 doo. It's such that you can tell that they did that song for them, not for us, because who asked for that, I mean, I'm glad we got it. It's a phenomenal song, but like, who asked for that? Who thought that they would give us that? It's got that like 80s like hip hop snare.
Yeah, it does. Starts off with that straight away, and like the whole song like is like one big atmosphere, and like draws you in from the very start. And I think Kiedis sounds amazing on it as well. I think it's probably one of the best.
I thought so in the
done.
Chorus, definitely in the chorus. I thought it was this is the John chorus, but it's Kiedis.
Yeah.
And John, I would say John's a better singer. But Kiedis is really, he's bringing it in that track.
Yeah, I think
So
this was his song in terms of like the performance. It's all laid there for him to sort of go over, and he did a great job. Kiedis did.
I'm really looking forward to hearing possibly like an acoustic version of this at a show. You know, almost like the kind of MTV Nirvana Unplugged. I'd like to hear this song in that style. You know, with an acoustic.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. With Chad on an electric drum kit with that ding snare. You know. All right. Well, to be fair, I had about 6 more points, but they've all been covered. So if we've got no more Grizz, have you got any more standout moments?
I haven't got anything written
without talking about your, you know, the rest of the categories.
I think
basically.
one more for me was "Fake as Fuck." That's
okay. Yeah,
that's a great song, and the whole song's great, but the verses in that was sort of the way the guitar follows like the way Kiedis is singing. It's like spot on, like completely in sync. It just sounds really satisfying, and it's just really groovy as well.
I also have I totally missed it, but I also have a note on "Fake as Fuck," and that's that the outro. I love the outro on "Fake as Fuck."
It comes out of nowhere. It's almost like a curveball because the song's such a raw, funky feel, and then the outro is completely different to the song.
It's it really is. It's great. One thing that kind of, and it's not a con at all, I'm not going to mention it in the con section, but one thing that annoys me, I've noticed, Spotify is getting pretty chill on telling you which songs are explicit and not. And because this song, it's spelt like F, is there like an at sign in there or something? It doesn't mark this as explicit, but it is. There's F-bombs in it. And it's the same as I listened to Bastards of Light earlier at work. And, you know, I just sort of scan. I'm like, right, no explicits. Let's play the album, whatever. And I was listening to it, and it's like, I'm the bastard of you. And I'm like, oh, shit. Gotta turn this off.
Does it say Peace and Love's explicit or not? Because he motherfucker bombs in that.
It's a clean album, according to Spotify. A totally clean album. Okay. Let's move on to our cons. Now, I don't know about you guys, but compared to the 20-odd notes I had for pros, I've only got about 4 cons because I actually found it quite hard. But I've got a few. I'll get the ball rolling. My first con is I don't like the vocal melody on My Cigarette. And like what you said earlier with the my cigarette, it's just poker face.
Yeah, it is.
And what I mean by the melody isn't necessarily that bit. It's the bit when he's like, to me it just sounds. You can hear the auto tune on that. I think anyway that you can hear the auto tune on Kiedis' voice, and I just don't like that very much. I like the song, I just don't like the vocal melody.
I actually really like that bit, you know. And
okay.
Like, it's not the standout bit or anything, but I like that vocal melody. But I'm not sure if it's sort of designed to hear it because it's such like a produced track.
I think so. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I thought the same thing.
Because there's one bit in Here Ever After on Unlimited Love in the verses where he's singing it, and they do some sort of like weird like auto tune effect on his vocals. Yeah. The first time I ever heard it, I was like, oh, that's fucked up. You know, they've made a mistake of a mixing or something. Yeah. And you listen back to it, and it's almost like they've made his voice into like a DJ sort of scratch sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
Like a record scratch, but I don't know if that's if they were going.
I know what you mean, because I thought to myself, well, I swear I can hear that auto tune on his voice there, but like you're saying, the song is a really produced. It's a different sound. Like it probably is supposed to be like that. I just found that it was just a little bit much for me, along with the lyrics, the mama my cigarette, and the it just I didn't enjoy it that much.
No, I get that. I do get that. It's one of those where it's like 50-50, isn't it? Like I said earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
So one of those tracks you love or you're not quite sure
about. I don't want to say I mean, I want to say, like, there's no song I dislike on this album, and I actually really like the song My Cigarette. I listened to it earlier. It's just that vocal melody that I kind of am not keen on. Hammers, have you got any cons for this album?
It's not so much like necessarily what I think, but I don't think this album is going to be as commercially successful as Unlimited Love.
No.
I don't think it's meant to be, because I don't think the marketing has been kind of as hyped as that album. But yeah, I think like you said, I don't think it's an album that is going to be as kind of widely heard as maybe Unlimited Love. It probably won't get as much radio time. The singles probably won't get as much radio time as Black Summer and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But not that's really a con for not to listen to it. But I don't know. I think maybe like some people might think it kind of lacks a little bit of like theme, unlike Unlimited Love, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that myself.
No, so you're not the only person I've heard say that. I watched a review today, and the guy said Unlimited Love was almost like a collection of love songs.
Yeah.
Dream Canteen does sound like a lot of songs, like sessions that they just kind of all threw together.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think that this won't be as commercially successful. But it's almost like they've done it because they've just released Unlimited Love, which is like the big album. This is like, right, well, here's what we want to do kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you there. Grizzo, any thoughts on that?
I agree with Hamby and what he said there about it being less commercially successful, but I don't think it doesn't need to be, and I don't think it's intended to be at all either. I think it is literally an album for fans. Because now, I didn't even realise, I saw this earlier this morning, they played their last show today. They're not playing again until like the new year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
January.
Even though they just brought out the new album like 2 days ago. Which is, so it just shows, they're not about promoting it. It's literally just for fans by the looks of it. Which, as a fan, no matter if it didn't have a theme, because I agree as well, it does lack a bit of direction, but as an album, but I'd want to hear any songs they make as a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to hear everything.
I think, as a fan, definitely. It's interesting that you say for the fans. It's something I want to come back to in the overview section. But yeah, I do. I get that, definitely. Do you have any other cons for this album, Grizz?
I think, like I said, I agree. It's more of a collection of songs than an album with like a reoccurring theme or sort of a bit of direction it's going towards. But I think for me, I was really looking forward to this album. Obviously, Chili Peppers are my favourite band, but Unlimited Love to me feels way more special. I said this to you the other day. It feels way more special because there's such a long wait for it, and I was literally dying to hear those songs almost. Like, there's not much more I'm wanting to do but listen to those songs. Where these songs,
I was going to. The question I asked you the other day: Unlimited Love or Thingy Bob?
You actually
wrote Dream Canteen.
You actually said Unlimited Lover, and I was like, "Oh baby."
Well, I was going to come back to this right at the very end, but I feel like your answer for it is the perfect answer. I couldn't say it any better. Like, you waited so long to hear that song, these, to hear Frusciante back with the Chili Peas back in their, like, perfect lineup. It does feel Unlimited Love probably, is more special.
Yeah, I think of this album as well, there's probably I think I like all the songs on there at least. There might be there's one song I'm not a fan of, which we'll come on to in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like all the songs as a whole. But I'd say there's more songs on this album and more sort of, that's a good song, I'd listen to that again, than on Unlimited Love, where that is an amazing song. I want to listen to that over and over and over.
Well, before we move on then, I probably will mention it again at the end, but if we got to say between this album and Unlimited Love, before I asked you, I was having a hard time because I think I enjoy this album almost, probably, at the time I thought I enjoy it as much, and it was hard for me to decide which album I like more. And your answer basically kind of pushed me towards Unlimited Love, because it was more special. Waiting to hear that. But I know we all love this album, but I think it's a phenomenal album. I got another con, and that is the lyrics on Reach Out. And to be fair, the lyrics on a lot of these songs.
Yeah.
I think it's there's a lot, you're hearing a lot of Kiedis just completely riffing off the top of his head, there's a lot of referencing weird things, just saying stuff that doesn't make any sense. Reach Out is one where he, it's like Poster Child off the last album. It's he's just saying a lot of stuff, the la 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 la's on la 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 la, which is weird, because Kiedis sounds at his best. I know I said this on the last review, but Kiedis sounds at his best. I just almost think that his lyrics are a bit much when you listen through the whole album.
Yeah. Well, I listened to it was a Joe Rogan 5-minute clip with Rick Rubin, and it was he'd literally done this interview with me a couple of days ago, and he was asking Rick Rubin about what it's been like in the studio working with these different artists. And he was talking about Jay-Z, talking about Eminem, and he was talking about Kiedis as well. And he was talking about how they all have different ways of getting lyrics, writing songs. Yeah. Where Eminem will have just notebooks full of lyrics that are referred to all the time. Jay-Z will literally hear a beat, 20 minutes later go in there and freestyle of a rap come out, and it's an instant classic. Whereas Kiedis will hum along to the tune, and then he'll just make words that fit with it almost. Yeah. And you can definitely hear that in this album. You could hear it on an Unlimited Love as well. But they recorded 50 songs, and give him credit, 50 songs to write lyrics to is a lot of songs, but at times, you listen to it and you're you could have done so much better.
It's just, so much better, think about the pure poetry that is under the bridge, and then think about Reach Out, where it's just words. Does it mean anything? It's just, it's got a banging chorus, and it's a bang. I'm not saying it's a bad song. It's a great song, but just some of the lyrics, and Kiedis has that signature kind of, is it called staccato, where he's kind of his style. There's a lot of that on this album as well. So I would say that the lyrics, if you are not a seasoned Chili Pepper fan, you might listen to the lyrics of some of these songs and just be like, what is this nonsense? But I almost feel like that's, and I'm gonna, I'm gonna lay off this point because it's something I am gonna come back to right at the end. But yeah, he did it because he wanted to do it. I'll just leave it there. Any cons, Hamby?
No more than what I've said.
Okay,
no.
Yeah, I've got one more, to be fair, but let's see if Grizz mentions it now.
I don't think I've got any more off
the
top of my head.
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, here's my last con, and it's not that big of a con. It's just that I feel like this song doesn't have and I've called it the anthem song. For me, there's not one track on this album that is the one that you are, you're in the gig, you've got your arm around your mates, and you're just screaming it at the top of your lungs. For me, the last album had the Heavy Wing. That's the anthem song. That's the one where you don't even know the lyrics, and you're just going, oh, I know. It's it's the anthem song. This album doesn't have an anthem song. It doesn't have. It's got sort of the solo equivalent, where you're just but it just doesn't have that big sing along. Big heavy sing along.
No,
I feel
that's a really good point actually. I didn't even think about. Because every album has at least one.
Every album has got the anthem song, yeah.
And I can't really think of any of the songs off this album that could have been designed as that one, but didn't actually end up being it either. But the only one I could think of was maybe Eddie at a push.
Eddie is what I'm thinking as well. But it's also I'm not really disappointed, but I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't give John another song, another chorus to sing,
Mm.
Because that was such a surprise and such a welcome, song off the last album. But it's just I'm thinking of being at the show when we were obviously when you were in Manchester, when we were in London, and just that one song where you just let it go, and you don't care what you sound like, you're screaming, and you're just there. Like this album doesn't have that song.
No, that's a good point. And when you said about not giving John another go, and it's a little bit of a tangent, slightly, I won't make it very long, but
carry on, bro.
They've released 17 songs for Unlimited Love and a bonus track. 17 songs of this and there's a bonus track as well.
Yeah.
So that's like 36 songs. We recorded 50. So there's 14 songs somewhere. So what are we going to do with those? Because that's like a whole album still.
It is, yeah. Yeah. Another album in 6 months' time.
Might do.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
But I think I mentioned to Harry before we went on the call. I was like, I don't think they're at the kind of stage now where like they can't really release albums every 5 years because
getting on.
It's just not. It's not like it was maybe 10, 20 years ago.
No.
So I can definitely see them releasing a lot more music in their sort of twilight years.
Have you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot more like this kind of stuff.
Have either of you heard the newest Frusciante interview with Rick Rubin on that podcast?
No, I haven't.
I listened to it on my way to work about the other day, and he was asking like Frusciante like, "What's the plan next?" And he was like, "Oh, well, I'm just really looking forward to the stuff we're going to do next year." And that's all he left it as. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I reckon they're going to release. I reckon they're going to release a lot more music.
I'm down. Yeah, like you say, I'm down for that. I
wouldn't.
We all love this album. We all love the Chili Peas, and we're always down for more music.
I think. I reckon they'll release like an album every couple of years. I reckon.
I hope so.
I don't know if there'll be as much touring though, but
Well, I do think they tour. Like, I mean, do you remember when we saw them on the I'm With You tour? That was a 3-year world tour.
Yeah, it's mad.
That's insane, And as soon as you finish your tour, you're back to writing the next album. It's almost like, dudes, you're in your 60s and stuff. Like, you got families, I'm totally fine with them not touring if they want to just release music instead, Okay. I think that's all the cons we have. How about we move on to the next category, which is the best solo. Now let's see if we all have the same answer for this. I'll go first. Oh no! Let's count down to 3 and let's all say it. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Eddie.
Of course it is.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
The things
It's got to be. Yeah, you can't not be, can it?
First time I think the first time I listened to it, I think you'd heard it before me, Harry. I think I listened to it, and I was like, as soon as I listened to it, I was like, it kind of. The thing I said to you is like, if you don't like, I think if you're not a Chili Pepper fan, I don't think you'd like that song.
No,
because it's just like 2 minutes of just
Frusciante,
just straight, but which is great.
In
I
high
love
gear,
it. I love it, but it's a great song, great solo.
I don't know if you guys have seen. They played it live the other day.
I watched it.
Yeah,
it's
mad.
Insane. It's so good.
It's like even better than the studio version.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. So like my notes on this say Eddie's the best solo. It makes me move. It's pure feel. It's long. It's messy. I could not, like, if you strapped me to a chair and made me listen to that, I'd be, like, breaking out of that thing. I can't not, like, flail my arms around when I hear that solo, and he even does that, like, that sort of, Lynyrd Skynyrd, like, Freebird, like, sort of riff in there, like, it's just phenomenal. But like what Hamby said, if you... there's a lot of people out there that really do not rate John Frusciante as a guitar player. And that's fair enough. You like who you want to like, right? But, I've always said Frusciante is more of like a feel guitar player than a technical guitar player. And don't get me wrong, he's an amazing technical guitar player, but he will play 3 notes if that's what he feels the song needs, rather than Steve Vai, like, super advanced classical, stuff. And this is that. It's like what Hamby said. It's a long, pure, like, messy solo. And if you don't like the Chili Peppers or John Frusciante, you're going to fucking hate this. You're going to skip it. I doubt you even listen to it all the way through.
It's raw.
Phenomenal solo.
It's raw. It's not overproduced either. The whole song is, like, really simple, really, in terms of, like, of instrumentation. Like, there's not many layers of, like, guitar. Even when it comes to the guitar solo, it's literally just for one track, pretty much, the whole way through.
Yeah, it sounds like one track. Yeah, and
it's crazy. Like, the first time I heard it, I was like, couldn't really believe I was listening to it, because usually, like, the solos on the albums are quite short. There was a few like Turn It Again off Stadium Arcadium, like it's like a 4-minute solo pretty much.
Yeah,
it's almost like the equivalent of that. Almost this one was.
It's a real treat for fans, to have a song like that, and like, it's a great song anyway, and it just kind of caps off an already great song. I'm sure we'll come back to it when we talk about our favourite songs, but let's leave the solos there and let's go to the next category, which is the best groove. I won't go first on this one. I'm going to let Hamby take the lead on this one.
Me.
Hamby, what is your what song do you think has the best groove?
So we've mentioned it, but I Carry Me Home, I think, for me, has got the best groove.
Okay.
I think I think I love it's kind of a lot different to the rest of the tracks on the album. It's just like really really kind of bluesy. I think you said it sounded a lot like John Mayer, which I really agree with. I think what I said to you, I think it reminded me of quite a few like Queens of the Stone Age kind of songs. Very similar to that. But I just love the kind of like bluesy heavy guitar. It's I found myself like rocking to it back and forth. It's really, really great song.
Right on.
Really
nice.
great song.
Okay, I agree with that. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Grizzo, what's got the best groove for you?
I agree with Hamby. I wouldn't say it's the best to me, but it is great as a whole. That whole song. I've actually got a couple listed down for this. It's the most notes I've got for the whole album.
Okay, go on then. Hit us.
I think the one in terms of groove, it's a whole song, to be honest, and it's the drummer.
Okay, right on.
We haven't mentioned it once at all.
I realised that we should have. It's a great song with a great feel.
The whole song, mainly the chorus, I'd say, but the whole song is just an absolute groove all the way through. And it's almost like it's just so quick, so sharp, and it's straight into it. It's really punchy, and it just stays in the same groove throughout, and it's just really, really good.
Have you seen the video for it?
Yeah, I have actually. It's a bit of a weird video, but it's cool.
It's weird. Frusciante's looking like he should be a member of Arctic Monkeys. Or
Chad Smith looks like he's made out like plasticine.
Weird. Yeah.
But another song as well that we haven't actually mentioned is on my list for this as well. Yeah. And it's the verses for Tip of My Tongue.
Okay, yeah.
Really groovy, just for guitar, the bass, the interplay. Like you got the ya over there as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Another great groove. And the last one, I'm just rocking them off here.
Go on.
them out. The last one is the verses in Fake as Fuck.
All right, okay.
Which is the verses are quite slow in that song compared to the chorus, where it sort of like ramps it up, changes the speed, but it just. I don't know, it just feels really chilled, really laid back. It's got a really nice groove to it.
Amazing. Agree with that, definitely. This category really, it's really interesting to hear them, because we all have completely different answers for this. You didn't, I know you mentioned 3 there, not one of them is what I'm about to say, which is, for me, I think the best groove is Bella. And more specifically the verses in Bella, and I mentioned it before, the whole like she wants to live in LA with the do like it's great. Like it's what Hamby said, it makes you kind of rock back and forth. It's not really a rock back and forth, it's more of a kind of a head bop down.
Yeah, you can't help but move to it. I would have it on my list as well, but my list was getting out of hand.
The whole album.
I think I did say to you as well. You can have one and 3 honourable mentions. Yeah, I think the verse, and I've literally quoted, "She wants to be in LA," and then I've put, in later verses, you've got a bit of trumpet in there or some saxophone, and it just it's a groove, and yeah, for me, it's the best groove on the album. Okay, now the next category is called favorite song at the moment. I don't know about you guys, but my favourite song is pretty much constantly changing on any album, for any band. I always find it really hard to nail down the favourite song, except for, actually, Unlimited Love, which is definitively the heavy wing for me. I just, I can't get over that. I'll go first on this one. Hamby already mentioned it in the last category. My favourite song at the moment, hands down, is Carry Me Home. I'm here for that song. I love how the guitar just kicks in straight away. We already said it sounds a lot less produced. I love how the guitar comes back in after the first verse. It's really kind of John Mayer-y. Not that he's my favourite or anything, but I just love that. I started my musical career back when me and Adam were in the band like 10 years ago. I would say as a blues man, blues was some of the first music I ever listened to in my life. It's a go-to for me, and the Chili Peppers doing blues, hell yes, I am there for that 10 times out of 10. Frusciante, man, I need to hear him play more stuff. Weirdly enough, it reminds me of a guitarist magazine that came out back in probably about 2009, maybe 2010, and it was called The New Kings of Blues. And on the front cover, it was John Mayer, Derek Trucks, and John Frusciante.
Oh, yes.
And I always thought it was kind of weird that John Frusciante, who, what's he done that's blues?
Did you ever see the video for that? There's a video of them all playing
together.
Yeah,
where they're all playing, and
he's
just kind of sat there while John Mayer's like, yeah, man, I play the blues. And Derek Trucks is doing all that slide stuff. But, yeah, no, and now here he is, a new king of blues. But I have some honourable mentions.
Ooh.
And these were close calls, extremely close calls. In the Snow, I think, is a phenomenal track. I don't know why, but that song just cuts straight through me, and it's almost like it just means something to me, and it's
I completely get that.
It's the one track, actually, I've listened to the most off the whole album. I've listened to it loads. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, I can't keep listening to it because I'm going to burn out. In the Snow, amazing song, so different. Bella, it's got that bop. And, of course, Eddie, because I do love not just the solo, but I love the choruses, I love the verses, I love the constant, it's a tribute to Eddie Van Halen, which is something I kind of didn't notice the first time I listened to it. I noticed, obviously, David Lee Roth, and some of the other hints, but damn, it's been 2 years since Eddie Van Halen died, and my brain just didn't connect the dots that it's a tribute song, but yeah, so Carry Me Home, 100%, very closely followed by In the Snow, then Bella and Eddie. Who wants to go next?
Me and you are gonna pretty much swap places for the favourite groove and best song. My favourite song on the album, I've listened to it twice, and it's still my favourite, is Bella. I think. I think it's probably like I say, it's probably the most classic Chili Peppers song on the album, I think.
Yeah.
And I think when I listened to it, I was like, oh, I could imagine this being off By the Way or Stadium or something, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a bit of a mix of an album, in terms of different stuff. And I think I really like that one because it's classic. It's got everything that you want from a Chili Pepper song. It's got a great outro, really catchy chorus. I'm humming it all the time.
It's got that. It's almost got that John Frusciante signature strum pattern where he does the sort of or something. Like he does have that kind of signature strum pattern, and he's doing it all the way through Bella. So I totally agree with you that it's like classic Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
I think in terms of other songs that I think were close, I think In the Snow, and one thing that we've not mentioned is Bag of Grins as well, which I think maybe mentioned it right at the start, but from my listens through, I think those two tracks are the ones that I've kind of gone back to kind of play again. Really, really good tracks. It was a hard one actually, but yeah.
It is hard to nail down. Some great picks there. Yeah, 100% agree with you. Bella's a fantastic... Well, they're all fantastic songs. In the Snow, just, again, I don't... it's such a curveball.
Yeah.
What a song. What a song. Ding! Grizzo, go on then, bro.
I think I agree with both you guys. Like, it is hard to pick. But for me, there's 100% one standout song. But it's my favourite song at the moment. And it's probably going to be my favourite song off the album altogether, and that's definitely Bella. Like Hamby said, it's the
for Bella.
Yeah, it's the most Chili Peppers-esque song. It could be off any of their big albums from sort of Californication going onwards.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got all the great ingredients. Kiedis, it's got goofy lyrics, but vocal-wise sounds great. Great bass line, really bouncy, funky drums. Frusciante is that sort of, like you said... that sort of like staccato picking, like strum pattern, which sounds really, really good, really clean. And the whole song just comes together really well. And I said it earlier, it's almost like a perfect song. You literally couldn't pick anything bad about it, apart maybe some of the lyrics.
Some of the lyrics, but then also they're almost like... I looked at the lyrics earlier while I was at work, and they're just amusing. Like, one of the lyrics is... Bella cries, but that's all right. She's leaking on my shoulder again. And if we're saying he's singing about a dog, what is that dog pissing on his shoulder? Like, what's going on there? Like,
I don't want to know.
I'm quite surprised that song wasn't a single, either off this album or, if it made it onto Unlimited Love, in my opinion, it would have made a great single for either album.
I think though that you can't release your best song as a single.
No, true.
You got to be tactical about it.
But that's a radio song, in my opinion. Like, in a good way, it's catchy. It's a catchy song. But yeah,
I think.
Give us some honourable mentions.
This was quite hard actually. So it's really weird because the songs that came out as singles for Unlimited Love, none of them were my favourite songs on the album. Black Summer is
hang on, what did we have? Black Summer, Poster Child, and...
Not the One.
I'm Not the One?
Yeah.
Or Not the One, yeah.
So, Black Summer's a good song, but
great
none
song.
of those three are anywhere near my favourite songs on the album.
Yeah.
So, because Tip of My Tongue and Eddie came out as singles, I was automatically thinking, they're not going to be my favourite songs. But Eddie definitely is one of my favourite songs on the album.
Yeah.
You can't help but love it. It's the guitar, the solo. It's just a unique song.
Definitely.
But apart from that, I find it really hard to try and pick a third song.
Okay.
Because they all change so often.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it would be Peace and Love, I think.
Yeah. What a lovely song. It's just a nice song, isn't it? Okay, let's move on to weakest song. What we think is, possibly the not necessarily bad or shit, but weakest. For me, this was the hardest of the categories because I was listening through it a couple of times and I was thinking, God, I'm going to have to choose a song now that I'm going to have to say I don't like it as much as the others. So initially, I thought of obviously one of the songs that's a bit weirder, like My Cigarette, which I have cons for, or La La La, which I also have cons for. However, the song that I think is the weakest song at the minute comes in towards the second half of the album, and it's Copperbelly. So my notes literally say, and I highlighted, I don't dislike any of the songs on this album. For me, Copperbelly just doesn't really add anything. It's an alright song. It's got a great messy solo, which is Frusciante's like doing his like mess, but it kind of seems out of place.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't go anywhere for me. It's one of the songs that not skippable, but like out of all of them, I would say is the weakest song. I think it's not memorable for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. It doesn't really go anywhere. Like, it's not a bad song. It's just definitely a weaker song.
Yeah, it's a weaker song, and it's the song I think is the weakest song on the album.
I remember messaging you saying like I think the last 3 tracks are all great, and I actually quite like Copperbelly because I thought like
that's fair enough, man. It's more interesting if we have
yeah.
different. It's way more interesting if we have different opinions. Obviously, it's just the one that I think is the weakest.
Because I felt like the album kind of lulled a little bit in the middle, like with like Afterlife and Shoot Me a Smile, which are okay tracks, and then I felt it picked up like in the second half of it, like from like kind of 10, track 11 onwards.
Okay,
and I was like, and I really enjoyed the last 3 tracks, Copperbelly being one of them. But yeah,
that's Afterlife is one that I don't think we've mentioned so far.
No, it is.
I meant to mention it earlier because I really like that song.
I really like that song. It's got a great solo in it as well, and the chorus is really good.
Okay, going back to weakest. I think it's Copperbelly. Hamby, weakest song on the album.
Yeah, we mentioned it. I can't get into My Cigarette.
Okay, yeah.
It's like you say, like there's bits about it that it's like it's okay. I can. It's quite cool. It's a cool song, but
it is cool. It's a sort of song you smoke a cigarette to, like literally. Like
yeah, but I don't know. I just can't get into it. I'm not a fan of the chorus, really. Like
yeah.
Don't know. It's just a weird one. Maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe it will grow on me. But for now, it's probably the. Yeah.
I would say I agree with you, but I would say that you are right in that it will grow on you because I do feel like it's a grower of a song.
100%.
The more times you listen, the first time you listen to it, you're kind of like, oh, like what's going on here? Like, I credit for trying something new, but I'm not that into it. I've listened to it a few times now, and I've made a point of like listening to some other bands and then being like, right, I'm going to listen to My Cigarette, singling it out, listening to it, and I enjoy it. But yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you think it's one of the weakest song on the album? It definitely. How did he not record those lyrics and think, oh shit, it sounds exactly like Poker Face?
Yeah, I know.
Why did Rick Rubin not be like, Kiedis? Adam, any thoughts on Hamby's point there?
It's definitely a grower. I agree. Thing is, I found listening to Unlimited Love difficult the first time because you don't know what to expect, and I found it with this as well. Yeah. So I listened to it once through, and I couldn't remember what was what. But you have like your standout moments that you pick up straight away, like Bella. And then with My Cigarette, when it started, and he was like, "Ma ma ma ma," I was like, "Oh, this sounds a bit weird." And it went into it, and I was like, "Oh, I don't think I like this." And as soon as it went into the actual verse of instrumentation, I was like hooked straight away. I was like, "Jesus, like I really like this now."
I will say we've mentioned it before, but Flea is just on this album.
Oh yeah.
There's not a bad bass line on this whole album, and it is Flea's bass line on My Cigarette that really makes it
sort
good.
of goes into it. That really makes the song. I'd say my least favourite, or weakest song at least.
Go on, weakest song.
To be honest, I don't like this song. Being honest, okay. I didn't like it when I first listened to it, and I've really tried, and it might change. But that's Roulette.
Wow, I thought you were going to say La 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 La. No. I didn't realise you were going to drop this on her.
Yeah, I really don't like Roulette, and I think it's because the verses sound a bit forced. Like the guitar sounds a bit forced. It sounds a bit... I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't sound right to me, the guitar and the verses. And then it goes into the chorus, and it has the acoustic guitar. And the acoustic guitar sounds exactly like Bastards of Light. And so does how Kiedis sings the lyrics, and also half of the lyrics as well are the same from Bastards of Light. and it just sounds so familiar that it's like the worst version of Bastards of Light to me.
I get you. So me and you actually chatted about this, not about what we thought was the weakest song, but we chatted about this, and you said the chorus feels like something they probably tried to write for Bastards of Light.
Yeah,
it's like a leftover chorus that they've kind of just put in this song here, and I agree with you. I think that probably is the case. However, I really enjoy Bastards of Light. I think it's
so do I.
When it goes into that chorus and it's just uplifting. I don't know if it's just something about that acoustic guitar like chicka-jing coming in. I'm surprised you think it's the weakest song. You told me beforehand that you weren't that into it before I even heard the album, and I was like, oh, here we go, it's roulette. Right, here's what I think, and I was like, yeah, I like this song.
It just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. Like, I've got nothing against it. It's just I just didn't connect with it straight away, and it hasn't changed.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Like I said, it's more interesting. Everyone's different. We've all got different opinions. It's more interesting if we're all different. I could have sworn you were going to say La La La. Did you mention before that you weren't that into it?
Yeah, well, I don't even think Roulette's a bad song. It's just I don't. It doesn't do anything for me at all.
Yeah, it's the weak. It's the same with me and Copperbelly. I don't think it's a bad song, but I had to pick one that I think's the weakest. And unfortunately, that's the one for me. Fair enough. Okay, well, so next is the sort of overview section. Now, rather than take it in turns point by point, what I thought we'd do here is just give a very quick kind of how you feel about the album. I'll go first. And for me, the overview is that I absolutely love this album. There's some songs on there that are standout songs for me, like Carry Me Home, In the Snow, Bella, Eddie. And this is something that I've said a few times that I have said throughout this pod. I'm going to come back to this. You said, Adam, that this song you think it's for the fans. I disagree. I think Unlimited Love was for the fans. This album is for them. I feel like, have you heard of the sort of, some directors say it's the kind of one for me, one for them, and I feel like Unlimited Love was one for them, for us, for the radios, for the fans. This is one for them. This is what they really wanted to do. And because they've just released that other album that is the sort of the big album, they can just be like, let's put a fucking 80s synth thing. Let's get John to do some of his like electronica stuff, I think this album is for them in a good way. Loads of fantastic guitar solos, loads of amazing riffs, and again, the guitar tones are some of the best tones I've heard from Frusciante in a long time. Not that they've been bad, but just like I said, it's for them. He's like, I'm gonna do this. I want to do a chunky ass riff in this chorus. Backing vocals absolutely on point for this whole album. Bit of a shame that Frusciante didn't get a lead, but his backing vocals are just amazing. They tried loads of new things with this album that really work for me, such as the 80s slow jams. And that's my overview of the album. I personally would give it the same score that I gave Unlimited Love, because I apart from what we said earlier, being that Unlimited Love was a bit more special for me because of the time we waited for it. I'm giving this the exact same review that I gave Unlimited Love, and it's a 9 out of 10 for me. It absolutely hits the marks in all aspects. Hammers, give us an overview.
I think that this album is a good kind of companion to Unlimited Love. I think it's kind of complementary in that Unlimited Love is kind of what I think a more traditional album, while this one is something which tries new stuff. Some of which some people might say doesn't work. I think it works pretty well, most of it.
Here's a question for you. It relates to what you're talking about. I don't mean to cut you off. We'll come back to it. Do you think that, and Grizz, you can jump in on this, do you think that it should have just been the second disc to the same album?
No, because
no.
There's a lot of
songs. Too many songs.
And there's a lot that I think, there's a lot that I can see why they wouldn't have been on Unlimited Love.
Yeah.
but I think if I had to give it a score, I would give it. I think I gave Unlimited Love probably a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think this one, I think I give an 8 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic album, but I think what it lacks, I think maybe it lacks a little bit of theme that Unlimited Love had.
A bit of what? Sorry, I missed that.
A little bit of theme.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And I think Unlimited Love, fair enough, it's been out longer and I've had more time to listen to it. I feel like it's got a few more kind of standout, memorable tracks. But as I listen to this, I'll probably change my opinion on that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Grizzo, what's your brief overview?
I think both you guys have raised really good points that I agree with. I think for me, I've obviously really enjoyed the album, and any opportunity to hear more Chili Pepper songs, I'm going to open it, welcome him in with open arms, not broken arms.
Broken arms.
I don't know why I said broken arms, but yeah, I'd welcome him in with broken arms.
I said it again.
Anyway, yeah, really glad to have more songs coming out. And it makes me wonder what else did they record as well. That's what makes me really wonder. Yeah. Because they've really pushed the boat out with some of this stuff. How they've tried new things. You can see Frusciante's influence in it. You can see the other guys are open to exploring doing that stuff as well, which is really cool to see. I think for me, as a whole, I agree with Hamby about how it doesn't have a directional sort of theme Unlimited Love does. Obviously, I've said about how Unlimited Love felt more special. I think Unlimited Love had more solid songs throughout. I think they were sort of more complete songs. When you think about She's a Lover, It's Only Natural, What You Thinking, Let 'Em Cry, Heavy Wing, White Braids and Pillow Chair, they're all like absolute Chili Pepper classics.
You can't argue with that.
Those songs are like absolute classics in my eyes. And almost like it's like an unbeatable run of the album, that sort of second half, where I think this album, I'm like, oh, I love that song. Those ones are alright. Love that song. That's good. That one not so much. And it's sort of, I like all the songs on the album, but there's not like, doesn't blow me away as much.
Okay.
Well, I was literally listening to Unlimited Love on repeat. Like, I must have listened to it about 20 times the first few days. Well, I've listened to this probably about 4 or 5 times now, which I still don't think is enough time to sort of digest all of it. But I gave Unlimited Love a 9. I'd probably give this an 8 as well.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think some real good points there. To be honest, I forgot about that second half run on Unlimited Love. It does. It kicks up a gear and it never drops down.
Yeah, it's pretty mad.
You know, I mean, those songs you just listed there. Really goddamn good songs. I just weirdly with Unlimited Love, I listened through the whole album a load of times, probably 6-7 times or whatever, and then I did come back to individual songs. Whereas on this album, I have listened to the whole album all the way through more times than I have picked out individual songs. I don't know if that's because maybe I feel like some of the songs can't be taken out of context of the album.
I think with Unlimited Love as well, all the singles are off the first half the album as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I wasn't going back to that half as much because I'd heard it so many times beforehand.
Yeah. I think Unlimited Love for me has the song that I dislike, like Dream Canteen has for you, Roulette, and that for me is Poster Child.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't dislike it. I don't hate it. I just dislike it.
Yeah, I felt like that since the way it came out as well. That song.
Yeah,
that song sounds like it should have been on this album, doesn't it? Really,
it does. It definitely does. Yeah, and you can see how it probably, you can see how they were almost laying the groundwork, giving hints at what was to come with that song.
Yeah,
even how like all the artwork is the same for that video and everything's all the same.
Yeah,
probably the same artist.
It should have been. It should have been in it. They should have swapped it out for Bella or for Peace and Love. Those two would have gone on that album and fitted in straight away.
Yeah, But then you're taking away great songs from this album.
Exactly.
It's a tricky one.
It is very tricky.
I mean, if you took away Bella or Piece of Love or any of those and put Poster Child on this album, I might feel differently about it.
It's very different.
But yeah, so that's our thoughts. You know, a 9 from me, an 8 from Hamby, an 8 from Adam. Fantastic scores for a fantastic album. So earlier I said that I'd been doing a bit of research and looking into, you know, how the album's performing, and as with all Chili Pepper stuff, it's pretty mixed. It looks like the album's getting between 50 and 80% from most kind of critics, not including kind of just average reviewers. We're talking just critics here. Oh, I've just had a notification to say that my headphone is dying, so let me just switch out to a different headphone. Right. Can you boys hear me still?
Yep.
Okay. So it looks it looks as if it's sort of mixed reviews. What I've done now is I've got a few quotes from various places, so I'll read through some of these, see what you guys think. First one is from Classic Rock, and it says, the Red Hot Chili Peppers continue a red-hot creative streak. You know, it's obviously a pretty good review. I think they gave them like a high 70s score. Next one's from NME, and it says, the album is an almighty slog, where the vibrant new is weighed down with a lot of same old tricks. For all glimpses of bold musical and lyrical steps forward, they remain largely the same band they've always been, with Return of the Dream Canteen offering an all-you-can-eat buffet that often feels overwhelming. What do you guys think to that?
I could see that point of view. There's a lot to choose from. It was almost like an all-you-can-eat buffet. There's lots of different selections, different genres in there. And if you're not feeling certain ones, I can see why someone might say that. You're not
definitely. If you're not feeling Chili Peppers doing like hard blues or 80s slow jams, yeah, definitely, yeah.
But quick tangent. When I said earlier about it being for fans, I agree what you said about them making it for them. But they put it out for the fans' benefit.
They put it, definitely. They've made it for themselves, and they've released it so that the real fans can be like, this is what my band, you know, loves. This is what they want to do, kind of thing, and screw everyone else, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. Next one comes from Clash Music, and it says, the band promised they weren't going to play it safe with this record, and it seems to have paid off. I would say I agree with that. The Telegraph, they always give everything a shit review. They said, mildly soulful, rarely unpalatable. The Chili Peppers keep delivering American fast food for the ears, even as they enter their 60s. And I think they gave a 60%.
Fair enough. Could have been
American fast food for the ears.
Is that a compliment? Don't really know.
I don't know. It's almost like a backhanded compliment, isn't it?
Don't know.
And then the next thing, obviously, I was going to ask, you know, Unlimited Love or Dream Canteen. I think it's all of us have said Unlimited Love. For me, as I said, you know, it was purely because of that specialness. I can't stress enough how much I love this album.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of the review. That's the end of the whole thing. That's the end of the whole show. Before we close it all out and I ramble through all the closing stuff, do any of you guys have anything to add about this album at all?
No, covered it all.
I think we have covered it all. Again, really, really enjoyed it. Besides it being a lower score than Unlimited Love, but still love the album. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, let us know what you think of the new Chili Pepper album, if you're a fan. You know, a lot of people are fans. We had a lot of listens for the last episode, and I'm hoping to get quite a lot of listens again for this one. Let me know what you think of the album. Send an email, dudewutpodcast@gmail.com. Get in touch with us at DudeWutPodcast on Instagram, facebook.com/DudeWutPodcast on Facebook. And if you want to help out the pod, what you can do is you can leave us a 5-star review in-app or on any podcast sort of player of choice. That'd be great. If you want to be a super fan, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/DudeWutPodcast, or go onto our link tree that I'm pretty sure is posted pretty much everywhere. Scroll down and you'll find a sort of a quick link to our Buy Me a Coffee. On there you can sort of donate anywhere from £1 to £5. Anything you do give goes towards the general running of the podcast, but of course it's your hard-earned money, so only give what you can spare, kind of thing. If you want to be a super fan and producer of the show, on that same site there is an option for you to do that. It's a monthly subscription. It's £2 a month, and for that you get sort of a hard line straight to us, so you can recommend stuff for the show, and stuff like that. You basically you also will have a shout out every single episode. So as soon as we start getting producers, there will be a segment where we just sort of quickly run through all the producers and give them all shout outs and stuff. So that would really help. Well, like I said, we've pretty much covered that album. We've covered everything, and we've come to the end of another episode of Dude What Podcast. Guys, it's been absolutely fantastic being able to have you both on an episode again. It's, I always enjoy it when I can get at least one of you on, and having two of you on is just it's fantastic. Hamby has just put down a crushed can of Zuber or whatever that is you were drinking. You enjoyed that, Ben?
I did. Ready for bed now, but yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for being a fan of the show. Thanks for you guys for coming on. Hopefully you've had a good time, and we will be back same time next week. Take it easy, everyone. See you later.
Good night. God bless.